Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. It is hot as sin out here in the Pacific Northwest right now. It has to be 98 degrees. We got our AC running. Can't keep up. It's insufferable right now. That's how I would currently describe our current weather predicament. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we're gonna see if we can push and crawl through this sweaty, hot, and miserable. We're gonna have a little bit of a conversation today, and what we're gonna be talking about is Oldoa and Xiza and their respectable TMRs. Now, there's a lot of people out there who are gonna tell you Xiza's TMR is the best TMR ever. Nothing else is ever gonna beat it. For the most part, they're pretty much right. I think, though, particularly with the prevalence of Warrior of Light right now, and with the added benefit of armor penetration on Oldoa's TMR, we might actually see a world where Oldoa's TMR is actually one of the best TMRs, at least for the next couple weeks, maybe for a couple months, while Warrior of Light is extremely prevalent in the meta. It's definitely going to help also against Agrius, who should be here within a week, and who is also going to be another strong unit that we're going to have to contend with. Sorry guys, got my iced tea, cooling it down. We're just gonna take it nice and slow here. Let's talk about Xiza's TMR first, and most of y'all probably all know about it. Illusionary Bell is gonna give HP 142, Defense 8, Agility 7, Accuracy 14. Very powerful in stats alone. Now when you start factoring in the ability Revitalize, it's gonna give 25% auto restore on your AP for 3 turns, and it's going to be a 12 TP cost. So essentially what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that, if we use the example of Sid's armor crush ability is going to be non-stop. He's going to be able to pop his limit break, he's going to be able to pop armor crush, he's going to be able to be non-stop on the offensive against the opponent. There's a reason the Xiza Bells are one of the most powerful TMRs in the game, and that is why. You can put them on other units like Victora, and have her consistently dragon dive on opponents non-stop. You could put it on Venera, have Venera spam armor cleaner. Have her spam armor cleaver. I mean, it gets nuts. It really gets nuts what this can do. So why are we even talking about Oldoa's TMR when Xiza's TMR is pretty much one of the best TMRs in the game? Well, the reason we're talking about Oldoa's TMR is because it grants auto restore 5% for 3 turns, it costs 30 TP for the ability, and it increases defense penetration for 50 for 3 turns. This is an addition, of course, to accuracy 12, critical hit rate 9, and the ability's name is Inheritance and Violence. Now, of course, this is not going to be the amount of AP regeneration that you would desire, right? This is not going to be the amount of AP generation where you're like, hallelujah, I pretty much have Xiza Bells and I'm going to destroy my opponent. That's not how this is going to work. And I think it's really important to note here as well that what you're getting on this is going to be primarily the defense penetration, and the auto AP restore is kind of like a small little benefit. If you think about how much AP is actually restored by 5% with your characters, it's going to be on average 5 to 6 AP per turn. So if you're running a 12 AP ability like something like Shuriken or something really weak with a 161% modifier, you know, it's going to be one of those things where you're not going to get much more room, right? It has a TP cost of 30, so it's just the same as essentially buffing yourself with one of your self buffs. And what it gives you instead, mostly, is that defense penetration plus 50. Now, where is this really handy? And this is going to be most useful right now when you're going up against Warrior of Lights. And there's a couple things this is going to be useful on as well, which we'll get into. And I think, depending on the situation, depending on the fight that you're fighting and the units that you're using, you could make the argument that this is better, actually, than Xiza's Bells. And why would I say that? What am I thinking about the situations? So, I'll give you an example, and the example is an opponent's Ayaka. and the opponent's Ayaka has gone full turtle. And there's so many people out there who I know have experienced what I've experienced, where like your Victoria runs up to the Ayaka, and you know, you've got your Victoria in the back line, Warrior of Light has hate somewhere else, and your Victoria's like, screw Warrior of Light, I'm gonna go destroy this Ayaka because I want you to win this match. And your Victoria uses jump, and you know, maybe she has Xiza's bells on, or maybe she's using Dragon Dive on the group of them because she's been using Xiza's bells, and she lands and she doesn't kill the Ayaka. And then the next turn, the Ayaka uses Curaga. Well, that sucks. And that's kind of a weakness of Xiza's bells, right? Because in a situation like that, it doesn't matter how many times your Victoria Dragon Dives. If Ayaka is just going to spam her LB or spam Curaga, and let's say that she can survive a single hit, I mean, you're screwed, right? And I know you guys all know exactly what I'm talking about. There are Medinas that are built this way as well. And honestly, it's one of the best ways to build your Ayaka if you are, you know, planning on doing this. Run a double tank comp, run a double brawler comp with Sid. Sid and Ayaka fully defensive. Ayaka's just gonna Curaga the hell out of everyone. Use her LB, you're never gonna be able to win. Now, this is a situation where Oldoa's TMR would actually shine more than Xiza's TMR. And the reason why is you're never going to get into that cycle of AP draining from yourself, right? Because what happens is, you know, your character's all buff, you run in, and then Ayaka's just spamming Curaga, supporting the allies, and no matter what, you're never going to be able to kill the opponent. Your resources are drained. I've seen this happen in guild battle. I've seen this happen in arena quite frequently. And you're just like, well, shit, what do I do now? And this is where the Oldoa TMR comes in, right? If you know you're going to be going up against turtle tank teams, if you know that you are going to be going for an enemy Ayaka, and maybe your Victoria is going to be able to Dragon Dive on her. Well, if you had defense penetration 50 on that Dragon Dive, Ayaka's not going to survive. You would have been able to kill Ayaka in that first turn of the battle. Not only that, you're going to be dealing substantially more damage to Warrior of Lights, right? Like, think about the amount of damage that defense or that proccing or the amount of barriers they have up is stopping from you. So, defense penetration 50 in some ways is more powerful on this piece of gear than the auto AP restoration. Now, there is some things to talk. Ooh, I always get Whimsy Shop in the middle of a battle. She only pops in the middle of a battle, always in the middle of a video. Now, there are some things to talk about in terms of, you know, things to consider. So, like, if you are running Victoria, and let's say she quite regularly uses Dragon's Kin, and all of a sudden she's not using Dragon's Kin, she's using Inheritance and Violence. You might want to try and find a way to keep her back line so that she can use Dragon's Kin and Inheritance and Violence. There are other TMR abilities that you can put on Victoria, for example, where she'll pop Dragon's Kin first, go and do a Dragon Dive, and then she would pop the TMR ability. So, whatever you do with Oldoa's TMR, it's going to be really important that you test it with the AI on your team to make sure that it's going to be functioning properly for you. I mean, with ability turn on and off, you could turn off Dragon's Kin, but I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, I think this could be potentially very powerful against turtle teams, potentially very powerful against Warrior of Light teams. It's really going to depend on how you build your teams and what your compositions are. And I mean, I guess you could say that for anything, but I think you could make this TMR ability work for you in a way that is better than Xiza's bells if you're smart. So that, of course, brings the question, does that mean Oldoa's worth pulling on? And, you know, I don't think she's still, like, just because her TMR is pretty good like this, I don't think this is game changing. I don't think people should be pulling Oldoa before Final Fantasy Tactics 2, particularly if you're free to play, particularly if you're like a Dolphin. if you're a whale, go for it. If you happen to pull Oldoa in the future, she's definitely a character that I would put on my like hard quest rotation, right? So just like if you magically pulled a Xiza if you were free to play, or if you pulled a Xiza at all, you should just be having Xiza on your hard quest farm rotate. If her shards are in the shop, you should be buying them. It should be that slow, gradual build because the ability is so powerful, and we know that there's a lot of opponents with high defense coming in the future. We know that that's going to be something that's going to be happening quite often. So it's going to be very powerful, and we are going to be getting other units with defense penetration. In particular, I'm thinking about Laswell coming up in the future, who is essentially a tank buster. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get it, but if you can get Oldoa's TMR, it's going to be very powerful for you, and I think it's going to actually work for you quite well. We are at the end of our video, Goose guys. We did made it. Holy cow, it's hot in here. It's so hot I can't even really think straight. I'm just going to be honest with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We are trying a different strategy. So I heard a couple people say that my casual conversations were a little too casual, not as factual. So I'm trying to include some images just to kind of support and facilitate that, guys. So please let me know how you liked that, if you thought this was a good balance of both the casual conversation and the sort of character profile-esque elements that I normally do. And of course, if you guys are planning on buying Visior with Amazon coins, please use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins or dig.gs/offer if you want to get one of our special discount coupons. It's one of the best things that supports me, and I appreciate all of you guys that use it because it does literally pay my bills so that I can keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.